bringing it to you once again today. What are we going to talk about? We talk about so many great things here on Tame Your Talent. How about we talk about sponsor reads? Maybe you have this huge event that you're doing and you just got hired to announce it and you want to know the sponsors. Sponsor reads are important because remember, sponsors are why you have a job, okay? Sponsors pay your salary. Without the sponsors, you don't have a job. They can't hire an announcer because it's not in the budget. So sponsors are important. Now, on a lot of events I do, from X Games to the Olympics, they'll prepare sponsor stuff for you written out. And sometimes you'll read those and it just doesn't sound like you. So what I like to do on sponsor reads, I like to make them my own. For example, if you see a sponsor read that says, hey, you want to catch sweet air? Well, catch on sweet air on over to Taco Grande. And it just doesn't sound right coming out of you. So it's maybe something like, you got to check out Taco Grande. They have the amazing food from the tacos to the burritos. Stop by while you're on site. Taco Grande, check them out today. See, I just completely took away what they had written and made it my own. Now, you can't always change them. You always have to make sure if you can make them your own. And one of the things that I always do is I ask my director. I ask my director ahead of time and says, here's what they've prepared for me. Can I change it? And the directors 9 out of 10 times will say, yes, please, I don't want you to read them verbatim no matter what. Okay, sponsor integration. I mean, you have all these great sponsors. How could you integrate them into the competition? Well, that's pretty fun to do, and you can have fun with it too. It's like, let's say Mountain Dew is a sponsor of an event you're doing, and there's a guy coming down the half pipe and he does his run, and it was a super good run. And maybe you want to make a little joke. Well, he definitely drank his Mountain Dew before that run. Well, they're a sponsor. So not in such the cheesiest way possible, but try to always integrate them into the show because also it gives the sponsors more love so you don't have to directly stop the show and talk about those sponsors. If you can tie them into the show, it makes it more fun. Tie-in sponsors, they're sponsored athletes. And in a lot of events I do from X Games to whatever the event may be, maybe even the Olympics or something, athletes are sponsored by certain products. And a lot of them is action sports athletes. It's usually energy drinks. That's probably one of the big ones. So if your athlete that you're about ready to announce is sponsored by a sponsor that's actually sponsoring the event, then it's great for them to hear their athlete being announced and you can tie in the sponsorship with it. So it's a win-win situation. It wins for the event and it wins for the athlete and they love it too as well. Like I said, remember, they are the ones paying your bill. Use your own shtick and style when it comes to your announcer reads, how you deliver them. Make it come from you. And once again, I reiterate, you must always check in with your director to find out what they think about changing the sponsorship. And one of the funniest little stories that I remember, I was doing a U.S. Grand Prix snowboarding competition, and the sponsors was Audi was a sponsor, Pop-Tarts was a sponsor, I think Paul Mitchell and Bud Light. All of those were sponsors of the event. So that day when we broke the mic, my co-host and I, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, well, I was driving to the mountain today in my Audi, and of course I was eating a Pop-Tart on the way. And I have to admit, I looked in the rearview mirror and I was looking pretty good from the Paul Mitchell tea tree that I was using. And I went down and we had an amazing event. The whole day was wonderful. We went to the bar and then we cracked a couple cold Bud Lights, and that was the end of a beautiful day. I just put in 4 sponsors right there into that integration, what I was talking about. And that's how you do it. It makes it fun. And the people still talk about it. I still hear it from sponsors like, oh, I loved it the way you added that in there and the way you made it special. So that's how you end up owning it. That is what you want to do. So sponsor reads. Let's recap and let's go over this. Definitely make them your own style, all right? Dress them up the best you can. Make them solid. Also, know their line. Like with McDonald's, it's I'm loving it or something like that, or Bud Light is here we go. Those are the kind of things that are super important that you want to get in there and know those things ahead of time. So if you know the little taglines from your sponsor, then you can do a quick one and just give them their tagline at the end. And also reminds me, one more story before we break this one up for today is there was a sponsor called USANA, okay? USANA was a sponsor at one of the events I was doing. And I did not know that's how you pronounce it. So I was saying, and we're sponsored by USANA. So I was saying the initials because I didn't know it was USANA. So not only did I not know how to pronounce it, I was an idiot because I didn't even know what they did. And that was me not preparing at all to know my sponsorship. So when it comes to sponsor reads, know what they do. And you don't want to end up like that, making mistakes right there. Make them your own and just fix them up, dress them up, make them good. And your sponsor reads will get you more and more jobs, because the more you make the sponsor happy, the more they want to hire you and bring you back. Those are your sponsor reads. Tame your talent, broadcasting and podcasting. I'm Brad J.